I squirmed in the plush velvet chair, my cheeks burning with a fire that had nothing to do with the warm bathroom lights. Miss Margaret's hands were gentle but unyielding as she tilted my chin up, her perfectly manicured nail, a flawless shell pink, glistening as she adjusted a stray curl of my new bangs. "Now, Andy," she said, her voice a honey-sweet purr that dripped with quiet authority, "this is what happens to naughty little boys who think the rules don't apply to them." I'd been so stupid. Sneaking into the teacher's lounge during lunch seemed like a genius prank at the time. A whoopee cushion on the principal's chair. Harmless. Funny. Miss Margaret did not find it funny. "But don't you worry your pretty little head," she continued, her eyes meeting mine in the mirror. They weren't angry. They were thrilled. "By the time I'm finished with you, you'll be so breathtakingly beautiful, you'll forget this was ever a punishment." Her words were a taunt, a promise, and a threat, all woven together. There was no escape. Her bathroom was a temple to femininity, all soft pink tones, gleaming gold fixtures, and the intoxicating scent of expensive perfume and powdery foundation. I was already trapped in the outfit she'd chosen for me, a frilly, vintage-style dress in baby pink with a lace collar that tickled my neck and a petticoat that rustled with every tiny nervous shift I made. It was the kind of dress you'd see on a porcelain doll. And now, it was on me. "Miss Margaret, I started to protest, my voice cracking. "Shh," she interrupted, placing a cool, gentle hand over my eyes, plunging me into darkness. "No peeking, my dear. The reveal is the best part. Trust me, you'll thank me later." Blindfolded by her touch, my other senses went into overdrive. I heard the delicate clink of glass makeup jars, the soft scratch of brushes against my skin, the whisper of a powder puff on my eyelashes. Her floral, powdery perfume was everywhere, intoxicating, weaving a spell around me. I wanted to run, to fight, but a strange, heavy lethargy was washing over me. The more she worked on me, her touch always firm, always knowing, the more my resistance melted away, replaced by a terrifying, passive acceptance. "I told you," she murmured, her lips close to my ear, "bad behavior has consequences. But I promise, you're going to look so utterly darling, it won't feel like one." Finally, her hands left my face. I blinked, my eyes struggling to adjust to the light. And then I saw her. The boy in the mirror was gone. In his place was a girl. My hair had been transformed into a head of soft, bouncing curls, pinned back with a white satin bow. My lips were a glossy petal pink. A delicate dusting of blush highlighted cheekbones I never knew I had. The frilly dress didn't look ridiculous anymore. It looked right. It framed a face that was suddenly soft, delicate, and undeniably pretty. I didn't know whether to scream or to lean closer to the glass. Miss Margaret stood behind me, her hands resting proudly on my shoulders. "You see, Andy," she whispered, her voice thick with satisfaction, "you're not a naughty boy anymore. You're my masterpiece." Before I could form a single coherent thought, she adjusted the bow in my hair one last time. "Perfect. Now remember, this is your punishment, but it's also your lesson. You're going to spend the rest of the day in class like this, and I expect you to be polite, posed, and perfectly ladylike." My heart stopped. "Wait, the whole day? In front of everyone?" "Of course," she replied, her smile a blade wrapped in silk. "You'll see, Andy, sometimes walking a mile in someone else's heels teaches you more than any detention ever could." The walk to the classroom was the longest of my life. Every click of my borrowed heels on the linoleum echoed like a gunshot. The petticoat beneath the dress swayed with a life of its own, a constant, humiliating reminder of my new reality. Miss Margaret opened the classroom door. The roar of chatter died instantly. 30 pairs of eyes locked on me. A wave of stifled giggles erupted, followed by a dead, deafening silence. I saw my best friend, Tom, his jaw practically on the floor. The girls were staring, their expressions a mix of shock, amusement, and was that envy? Miss Margaret's hand pressed firmly on my back, guiding me forward. "Class," she announced, her voice bright and cheerful. "Andy has been learning a very special lesson today about actions and consequences. He'll be joining us for the remainder of the afternoon. Isn't he lovely?" Lovely. The word echoed in the silent room as I shuffled to my desk, my face on fire. I had to carefully smooth the skirt down as I sat, the way she'd shown me, the frills blooming around me. The lesson was a blur. I couldn't focus on a single word. I was hyper-aware of everything. The soft brush of the lace collar against my neck, the faint scent of my perfume, the way I had to hold the pink glitter pen Emma handed me with delicate fingers. "It matches your outfit," she'd whispered, not unkindly. For the first time in my life, I felt small, seen, vulnerable, and a part of me, a secret, shameful part, felt special. When the final bell rang, Miss Margaret stopped me at the door. "You did well today, Andy," she said, her voice surprisingly genuine. "It takes courage to be so exposed. Remember this feeling. True understanding comes from experience." I walked home in a daze, the dress swishing around my knees, the curls bouncing with every step. The world looked different. I felt different. The punishment was over, but as I caught my reflection in a store window, a pretty, blushing girl staring back, I knew one thing for certain. Andy had learned his lesson, but he was never, ever getting all the way back.